You are joining Making a Difference with Melissa Clark, a show that shares the compelling stories and voices of well-known and everyday people who change the world in big and small ways. Enjoy our guests, call in, or just listen to be inspired. For this show was made with you in mind. Please join us every Saturday at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time with our special guests. And you can listen to our recast at www.melissaclarkshow.com.
I'm Melissa Billy Clark, and on this episode of Making a Difference, we sit down with the one and only beautiful Eva LaRue. She's been a household name since her role on All My Children as Dr. Maria Santos. If you follow Eva in entertainment news, she's had a rough past couple of years with the loss of her father, her ex-husband John Callahan, and other beloved family members. It's been a rocky road, and Eva opens up to us to discuss her trials and tribulations. We split this segment in two. This week we discuss her incredible career, her COVID experience, and her grieving process. As Eva says, it's okay not to be okay, and we go more in depth with how she copes with hope in this spring's edition of Preferred Health Magazine. Please head over to preferredhealthmagazine.com and subscribe. Eva LaRue, we are so excited to have you on Making a Difference. How are you today? Beautiful.
I'm great. Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited.
Thank you so much. You have a full resume of an accomplished career as an actor and a host. You were nominated multiple Emmys on your 18-year run on All My Children as Dr. Marie Santos Gray. For this role, you won a Gracie Award and 2 ALMA Awards. ALMA is American Latino Media Awards. You won an Emmy for your outstanding guest performance on The Young and the Restless. That's what we grew up watching, and I love All My Children as well. I loved your character. Thank you. Thank you so much for entertaining us. You said in an interview about All My Children, All My Children taught me great work ethic. You work so hard on a soap opera. Do you think aspiring actors were cheated out of learning from working on a soap opera since they died down?
I think so. I think it was a really great training ground. I mean, look at all of the huge film stars that started in daytime.
Yes.
You know, one of them being Julianne Moore, who, I mean, how many times has she been nominated for Academy Awards and Golden Globes and all these, but I think even Julia Roberts was there for a bit. And I mean, kind of everybody, you know, did their stint for a little bit in a soap opera back in the day. And I think it was the perfect way, other than being on stage, to have to learn gads of material in record time and spew it out on the daily. I often say to people, because I mean, unfortunately, the production values on soap operas just look so bad now compared to how far we've come in, you know, in TV viewing and what we're, you know, what they're able to do in terms of graphics and things like that. And so now it just looks so archaic, and it's too bad that soap operas haven't come up with the times. And I think that's why they're being, you know, one after the next, or being let go, which is too bad. I think they really need to reinvent themselves, because there's still a fan base. People love to watch their soap operas. I just think they need to evolve. But the great thing about, I mean, I wish now I could watch any of the greatest actors of our time go in and do a day on a soap opera, because I really double dog dare them to do it any better than the soap actors that are there right now, with the production values, the amount of time you have, and the amount of the enormous amount of words to say in a day. 75 pages of dialogue sometimes in a day, 50 pages of dialogue to memorize in a day. So I really, you know, I'd love to see like Meryl Streep or somebody come in and be given this script and try to pull it off in about, I really like.
You go out of your comfort zone when you're on a soap opera, right?
You really do. There's a fear factor in doing a soap opera. It's almost like being pushed out of an airplane.
Wow. Wow.
Because there's so much dialogue, you know, and you have to memorize it every day. You're kind of mind numb by the end of the week. But you really, you know, your brain is like a a rubber band. It'll stretch to accommodate it, but before it has stretched to accommodate that amount of work to memorize, you go into like hyper fear.
Sure. Do you think reality shows took place of soap operas? I'm wondering.
Yeah, they did. I really do think they, you know, 10 years ago, they used to say that reality shows were total. Well, actually, first it was daytime talk shows that were the death of soap operas.
Sure.
And then reality TV came in, and that, I don't think that daytime TV ever came back from the O.J. Simpson trial. We started getting preempted like crazy for all those weeks, and we just never regained the fandom that we had.
It's coming from a soap star too. That's interesting, an interesting concept. Now, you've worked a lot of serious roles in your career, including the hit show CSI Miami. What is your thought process before you get into those characters?
Well, that one, thankfully, we had help. We had technical advisors on set. And sorry, I have a little itchy eye.
It's okay, it's your eye.
But we had technical advisors who walked us through everything, who told us all these magnificent stories of their days on the job and ways that they cracked cases that they thought they were never going to crack. And just, you know, trying to put their mind, wrap their mind around the mind of a killer, or, you know, the mind of a murderer, and how to kind of put themselves in those shoes to try to solve cases. So it was really fascinating to have that kind of help.
Interesting. I went to school for forensic psychology, so you
did?
Yeah, I was going to become a cop before this, but it was.
Oh my God, you would have been like the most beautiful cop anybody's ever seen. You would have been like literally the soap opera type cop. Like, oh, she's a cop on a soap opera.
It's I probably would have been killed by now. So I'm glad I'm with you. It's interesting though. I'm very much into all of that forensic work. It's very. I've had a couple of people on my show talking about.
It's fascinating, and I have never been good at math or science, but what I loved about working on CSI Miami is really learning the practical application of that science. Sure. And knowing that, you know, that there was a part of science that I could be absolutely fascinated with, and how to apply that. And I think, I mean, they say that statistically that since all of these crime show genre has hit the airwaves, that kids have started signing up for forensic science classes. There's finally forensic science classes in high schools now, where they didn't used to be. My daughter took one last year. She loved it. So I'm really glad about that.
Yeah, we loved your character on that. So thank you for that, for all those years. You were there from, I think, 2000, and tell us the years you were there.
2005 is when I started, and I was there for 8 years. We ended in 2011, I think we ended 2012.
Interesting. Yeah. What was your takeaway from that show?
Oh, it was such a great experience. It was, you know, I made such amazing friends, and it was really like, you know, it was like a second family there. I miss my friends over there.
Yeah. You'll see them over Zoom.
Yeah.
You played Annette Funicello. This was very important to our family, and thank you so much for playing her.
A dream is a wish your heart makes. Yeah.
I love
it's
that.
From the title is basically from the Disney song that one of the Disney princesses sings. I'm not sure if I think it's Aurora. I'm not sure, but it's that a dream is a wish your heart makes. And you're sad and blue.
You're a singer too. I was going to ask you to sing for us. Beautiful voice. And thank you for bringing it to life. My parents were huge fans of Annette and Frankie Avalon.
Are you Italian?
I am not. Everybody thinks I'm Italian. I'm from Brooklyn, but yeah, no, I'm actually Irish and German and Scottish. I know that you're of Puerto Rican descent, French, Dutch.
Yeah, my mom is French and Dutch and Scottish. She is white as a sock and blue eyes and blonde hair. Beautiful. And then my dad was born in Puerto Rico.
I love it. My brother-in-law is Puerto Rican and Italian, so my nieces and nephews are part Puerto Rican, but
part Puerto Rican.
it's a beautiful culture because half of his family is Puerto Rican. His mother's side, Rosa, who passed away years ago from leukemia, and she was such a loving person. We loved it. I miss the rice and beans. Do you make good?
Yes, the arroz con pollo and the, oh my gosh,
Yes.
all the delicious. I lost my dad about 1.5 years ago, so he was our Puerto Rican food master. But
very sorry for your loss.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's tough. Is your mom still around?
She is, and she's 82, and thank God she just got through COVID. So she just had it and she beat it. Thankfully. And to tell you the truth, I think it's because of the sort of outside the box treatments we went with.
Sure.
I've learned a lot in the last 6 months because I got it, my daughter got it, my mom got it, my nephew got it. Yeah, we all got it, and we got it right around Christmas time. And my doctor, I have an integrative doctor who's very forward thinking, pushes way outside the box. So he gave us a drug called ivermectin. And when I talked to my brother-in-law, who's a doctor, he's like, that's crazy that he gave you ivermectin. That's what veterinarians give to animals who have, it's an antiparasitic. I said, it is an antiparasitic. My doctor did explain to me that it's an antiparasitic, but it's also a super strong antiviral. And since last March, a lot of doctors have been using it against COVID. It's used on brand. It's FDA approved for malaria and for AIDS, but it's being used off brand because it's not FDA approved yet to be used for COVID. So it's being used off brand in trials for COVID, and it's working fantastically and no side effects. So when I got sick with it and it started to go, by around day 5, if it's going to get into your respiratory system, that between day 5 and day 8 is when it starts to hit your respiratory system. And you never know which one you're going to be. Are you going to be the one that barely gets any symptoms? Are you going to be the one that gets super sick but lives? Or are you going to be the one that dies of it? And it's like the Russian roulette of COVID, which is so scary. So when it started to settle into my chest on day 5, I was like, oh, hell no. I'm not gonna die of this. Oh no. So I ran to my doctor. I'm like, give me that thing. I don't care what anybody just give it to me. And sure enough, 3 days later, gone.
Are you going to get the vaccine?
And same for my mom. My mom it actually went into my mom's lungs. My mom got the COVID related pneumonia. And here she's 82. She's got COPD. She's pre-diabetic. God. She's a big, crazy health mess. And I thought, oh my God, I'm going to lose my mom to this because she's such, she's got every, precondition known to man. So I was like, oh my God, she's exactly the kind of person that's going to not make it through this. Sure. But as soon as she got the COVID-related pneumonia, my doctor put her on a steroid for her lungs, an antibiotic for the pneumonia, and then he put her on the ivermectin to kill the virus. Wow. And dude, she's good.
Are you going to get the vaccine, or have you got the vaccine yet?
No, because I'm not qualified. I'm not within the qualifications of getting one, but my mom is. She's going to get it now so that she doesn't get it again, because she had it bad. She had it for a good 3 weeks, and for a while there, and the other great remedy is my uncle. My uncle was in really, really bad shape too. He was hospitalized, and he had the pneumonia as well. And he got into a hospital that had remdesivir, and remdesivir is the thing that saved our ex-president. But when Trump got it, it was not FDA approved either. It was only, remdesivir was only FDA approved for Ebola and something else, but it was being used off brand for COVID. And then when they used it on the president and it worked on him, The FDA approved it literally within weeks, but only some hospitals will give it. And it's not an oral thing you can take it home. You have to get it in the hospital as an IV. It's a 5-day course of IV treatment. So just in case anybody gets this, just have this in your back pocket. Try to find a hospital. If you're that bad and you have to go to the hospital, try to find a hospital that has remdesivir, because it will save your life, hopefully. And if you can't get into a hospital, try to find a doctor that'll give you ivermectin. They're going to give you a hard time about it because it's like, but tell them to read the, I swear to God, I feel like so many doctors stop reading once they become doctors.
Sure.
And you're like, did you just stop learning 20 years ago when you became a doctor? We can't just, if we did that, we'd all be still using leeches for cancer. You know what I mean? Like, how are we going to project forward? I'm always so shocked when I hear a doctor say, oh, that's off brand. Nobody's using that for that. How do you think,
Right.
How do you think we move forward? How do you think remdesivir got used? It was being used off brand, and all of a sudden now it's like the miracle cure. Well,
So you're saying after 3 days you took that, you were feeling okay?
Yes, I was feeling, I was still on the med, but it was completely out of my lungs.
Awesome.
I had no cough, nothing. It was completely out of my lungs. And then I had another few days of just getting over the exhaustion of COVID.
What were your symptoms, Eva, when you first started feeling this? And do you know where you got it from?
Yeah, I got it. I got it from my nephew. Unfortunately, he didn't know that he had it on Christmas Eve. So we had, and it was just like 6 of us on Christmas Eve, but one of the 6 had,
We're so glad that you're okay. Well, what were your symptoms? Chest pains, cough?
Well, the first symptoms are all the crazy aches and pains and, fever. And the fever didn't last very long. Just like, you're hot, then you're cold, then you're hot, then you're cold. That for me only lasted for, about 24 hours. And then, but it was just, it's like you were hit by a Mack truck. You cannot get up. You are it's like trying to run through peanut butter. Everything is in slow-mo. You're just wiped out.
Oh, God bless you. Okay. God bless you.
Yeah,
Okay.
thank you.
Right, thank you. And your daughter's okay. And
yes.
Mom is okay. That's all.
Yeah, my mom's okay.
Yeah. All right, cool. Thank you so much for that information. Check back with Eva with all the information she just gave to you. So back to Annette Funicello. You played her. It was a wonderful, wonderful character that you played. You played Annette Funicello, and were you able to meet her? And did you learn from her?
Yes, she was on set with us almost the whole time. We shot in Canada.
Nice.
She was there with us. Her mom and dad were there with us. Her kids came up for a bit. Her ex-husband came up for a bit. Frankie was there. It was a magical shoot. It was such an amazing opportunity, and to hear their stories. At that point, Annette was having a really hard time speaking and breathing, but her mom was such a fantastic chatterbox, and her mom was eager to share all the stories of back in the day and Walt Disney. And I mean, it was just an incredible experience.
Well, you did an incredible job with that, if I can tell you. I remember watching that. What year did that come out?
Oh my.
Oh boy, that was a while back.
1996?
I was in my teens watching
97?
that. Yes.
Maybe 97?
I was in my teens, and you really blew me away. And ever since then, I was so attracted to you, watching you as an actor. So thank you for that. And you had a scene with Dick Clark and Frankie Avalon as an older Annette. How was it to be in a room with them? That's so cool.
My gosh.
Uncle Dick.
Icons. I mean, so incredible. Like really. And then also to hear their stories of working together when they were young and what that was like, and just those innocent days of all of them being on tour together, and being on the the tour buses, and all falling in love and falling out of love, and just icons in their industry.
We think you're an icon. You did. Thank you so much for that role. Really appreciate it. I want to watch it again. I want to watch it again because now that I got to meet you. Thank you.
I don't think my daughter's ever seen it. I mean, I might have to show it to her. I might have to force her to watch it.
Kaya, right? Kaya?
Yeah, Kaya.
Beautiful. You were recently featured in Pet Lifestyle magazine. Thank you so much for being a part of it. I write for that magazine. Tell us about Cali and why she's so special to your family now.
Oh, when my ex-husband, my daughter's father, passed away almost a year ago in March, his dog, Cali, was left behind, and he had gone into the hospital 2 days before to get just a run-of-the-mill procedure, and then he checked out of the hospital. So he had put the dog in a kennel, and while he was going to be in there, and when he got home the next morning, he had a stroke and in the house and died. And so when we rushed down there, we didn't know where the dog was, and we didn't know which kennel. So we started calling around like crazy, trying to find her, and we found her and brought her home with us. But she was a huge 1.5 year old puppy, and such a spaz. So we sent her away to training right away. I always feel like she's such an intuitive dog, and she's such an intelligent dog that it breaks my heart that she never got to say goodbye to him, and that she was immediately kind of whisked out of her home and away from the only, dad she knew. And then, I mean, luckily she was always really close with Kaya, and now she's attached at Kaya's hip, but like, sadly, Kaya just started college. So she just went off to college 3 weeks ago, and this dog has just had so much loss this year. But she is such a sweetheart. She's just turned out to be such a great dog.
Is she
such
a German Shepherd? Is she a German?
She's a German Shepherd white lab mix. She's so pretty, and she's such a sweet thing.
Gorgeous.
Yeah. She's still a bit of a spaz, but she's starting to calm down now.
God bless that you have her. We're very sorry to hear about Mr. John Callahan's passing last year. When I saw this, because I knew that you were in Pet Lifestyle magazine, I was very sad for you and your daughter. My niece and nephew, thank you. We're very sorry for your loss and your daughter, Kaya's loss. My niece and nephew lost their father at the tentative age of 12 and 15. That was 8 years ago. And I asked my sister the other day, I said, I'm going to have you on my show. And I said, what was the feeling that you felt as a mother? And she said, Melissa, it's a feeling like no other. She goes, you do everything you can to help your children and keep them happy. And when that happens, you can't do anything. She goes, I felt so helpless. So I wanted to ask you, and not to bring this up and damper our beautiful moment here, but
it's okay.
It's to help parents out there who are going through the same thing. I lost both of my parents within 18 months. So I know the grief.
Oh my God, I'm sorry.
Thank you. I know the grief, although I'm older, but it doesn't matter how old you are.
No, it doesn't matter. Yeah.
So my question to you is, how did you handle this with your beautiful daughter, Kaya?
And also, I think it's really important to talk about loss right now, because everybody's experiencing so much loss.
Yeah.
And just sweeping amounts of it. I think you look at your parents as these indomitable strengths and pillars in your life, and you can't imagine them being gone, especially when you're young. And I think too, you think you have, as a child, you have nothing but time. Right?
Yes.
So nothing but time to do the things you want to do with your dad or your mom or whatever, but nothing but time to heal certain things, to talk about certain things, to work on certain things. I just think that there's so much. I think a lot of the pain comes in the regret for what you didn't do, what you didn't say, what you should have said, what you could have said. Yeah. And you're ambushed by it on the daily. You never know when it's going to come. You have these happy moments and you feel like a normal person again, and you're happy and laughing and enjoying something, and then you're just ambushed by the grief. And I think the sooner you stop trying to fight it and saying, because I think we're programmed to always feel like we're supposed to be happy. I don't think happiness is a given. I don't think happiness is a right. I think happiness is a gift, and and the more we think of it as a right, the worse off we are. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So the more we get comfortable with welcoming sadness in and just letting it come and pass through the day, and having it as a guest in your life for however long it takes for you to start to heal and not cry as often. John and I had been divorced for 17 years, but he was still my great friend. And when I say he's a big personality, I think you can probably all know what I mean by that.
Yeah,
he could also be a big pain in the ass.
Sure.
But he was also this big, huge, alive, amazing, fun person.
He was so handsome, Eva. He was such a handsome man.
Handsome and just
Beautiful.
Just such a huge life force. And I still don't know how he's gone sometimes. And I think what it does for whether you're still married or not.
Yeah.
I think it's just that flood of all that you did have together, that flood of all. And like I said, just of regret too, like I should have said, I should have done. And then the worst part, like your sister said, not being able to take the pain away from your babies, not being able to interrupt that pain. No amount of cuddling brings any kind of solace. It's, and there's no words. And also when you're grieving and your children are grieving, everybody always thinks, oh, they have each other. No, you really don't. Something unfortunate happens and everybody goes to their grieving corner and everybody grieves differently and everybody grieves, off schedule.
It's a very personal feeling.
Yeah. And no one's grieving on schedule with each other. So you're like two tops in a ring, like spinning and bumping into each other. And there's a lot of anger and rage that comes with that grief.
Sure.
That it's happening to you, the unfairness of it, there's a lot to process. And I know so many people in the world right now are doing that at the same time. And I think that's why we're seeing so many Karens out there in the world. Right now people are angry and they're hurting.
Yeah.
And they just, they're taking it out on each other.
I know. And that's the worst part. And Eva, I always say this, and I remember my father when he was alive, I used to say, Daddy, because he always had heart problems and he gave me such a problem.
My dad too.
Yeah. They're so stubborn. He gave me I had the ambulance here and I was on a program the other day and I said, in this room, they would come. No, I'm not going, Melissa. One time I took him to the doctor. He walked right out. Now I didn't want to upset him because I didn't want him having a heart attack right in front of me. So I kept it very cool. He had a Brooklyn temper.
Yeah.
So my point to this whole thing is I used to say, Daddy, what am I going to do when you're gone? He goes, once you stay connected with God, we will be together because this life, we're only here for a good time, not a long time. Right.
Yeah.
And we can't be mad at each other. We have to love each other and support one another.
Don't be petty. We just have to stop being petty because I swear that's the thing that you feel the worst about when somebody passes is I was petty. I was petty.
And you have every right to be. Everybody has a right to be. And I had my best friend told me, Melissa, you can, and she didn't lose her parents. She knows about loss, but not like parents. But she got me and she checked me and she said, you be angry, but you don't stay there, girl. I'm getting the Brooklyn out of me now.
Yeah, that's so good. And not only that, but I think too, I mean, you just mentioned God, and I know some people hear the word God and they immediately shut down their listening ears. Sure. But whatever you call that for yourself, whether it's the universe or a higher power or God, for me, I call I call it God too, but I think it's universal. I think I think God moves across religions. I think it's one God, and we're all worshiping the same one in different ways, but we're all worshiping the same God. And for me, I try desperately, and I always try to come back to this, that if somebody is just the most off-putting and I'm having the hardest time with this person, and I'm having a hard time not being, petty and resentful, I always say to myself, this is not between you and me. This is between me and God. And how I behave right now is between me and God and not between you and me. And then it takes all the onus off my reaction to the person in front of me who is just being all kinds of obnoxious,
if we all
like
had
my
that
behavior right now is between me and God and no one else.
Yeah. If people behave like that, we wouldn't have all these problems, especially like on social media. People hide behind a camera, it's just,
they have anonymity and to say whatever they want.
And it's always a reflection on them. So I always say, all right, if this person's upset, just like me, if I'm upset and I holler at somebody, all right, take a deep breath. It's my own fault. It has nothing to do with them. And I say the same thing about that person. So if we had that behavior with all this rioting and fighting, everything would diminish and we'd live in a not so crazy world.
Yeah.
Of what we live in right now.
Yeah. We're being assailed from all sides right now.
Yeah.
We're just being assailed from all sides. I mean, I cannot help but wonder if we're being, we're clearly being trained to, somebody said to me the other day, we're being trained to be strong and be strengthened. And I said, I don't think so. I think strength is BS. We're like, people say you're so strong. No, I'm not strong. I think it's, I guess we've been through a lot in the last 18 months with my dad dying, then John dying, then my mother-in-law dying. Then, we've just had it up one side and down the other this last 18 months. But, I think what it's trained us to be is to fiercely love the people that are in our lives and to be enormously grateful for the time with them and enormously grateful for all the things that go right in our life. I think that's what this training time is for. Yes, I guess strength to get out of bed and keep going. But again, I don't think that's it. I think it's literally to learn to just to fiercely love the people that we love and to appreciate the crap out of all the good things that are, and I think we took all those things for granted.
When Dogs Fly is a coloring book for adults and a meditation guide. It can help you distress your life. Pick one up at Amazon today.
Making a Difference is sponsored by Preferred Health Magazine. Please visit www.preferredhealthmagazine.com today and subscribe.